Home appraisals tend to cause a lot of nervous anxiety on both the home buyer and the home seller side. So before you pick up that bottle of Seroquel, put it back down and let's talk about what real estate appraisers are really looking at. My name is Andrew Finney, and my passion is helping you make sense of real estate. If you need help finding a top agent near you, or if you simply want to drop me a line to say hello, my contact info is below. If you're new here, please go ahead and subscribe to this channel now and like this video. Thank you. Alright my friend, let's take a closer look at what appraisers are going to be looking at when they get ready to appraise your house. Now it's important to note here that a lot of people do get that anxiety, and it's okay. It's completely normal, and it is one of the steps involved in the closing process, especially if your buyer has a financed offer. That being said, we're going to dispel any ounce of fear today, because we all know that fear is simply an acronym for false evidence appearing real, and the best way to get over fear is with knowledge. In specific, there are 5 main areas a real estate appraiser is going to take a closer look at. The first thing is your home's exterior. Now, it comes as no surprise that when we really break down a home to what it is it? You have a foundation, you have walls, and you have a roof. So an appraiser is going to go in and look for the soundness of the structure and the quality of workmanship with the property, in addition to the home maintenance on the exterior of the home. So if you have a hole in the roof that should be fixed, that's something that you're going to want to get done, because it can materially affect the value of your home. The appraiser is going to be looking at anything that's considered health and safety conditions to make sure the property is not going to harm the new buyers moving into your house. So if there's any of the things going on with the foundation, disclose them up front and get them repaired if at all possible. If there's issues going on with the walls, and by the way, sometimes sellers say, hey Andrew, it's just a settling crack, is that going to present an issue? Maybe not if it's just a settling crack. At the same time, if you're able just to caulk it and repaint over it, disclose that you fixed some settling cracks in the property, that would be great. And then with the roof, anything that needs to be serviced, please make the repair or the replacement that's needed. An appraiser is going to pay specific attention to those 3 areas of the home just to ensure the home is of sound quality. The second thing that an appraiser is going to look at is the size of your house. Now this is where a lot of people think that an appraisal is just all about the numbers when it comes down to the square foot of the home. Yes, it is a critical role in determining the price per square foot of your home, thus multiplying it by the total amount of square feet in your home to determine a value. There's other factors that go on, not only with what we just talked about, but with the next 3 points. Just be aware that they're going to be taking a specific look and verifying the measurements of your property to ensure that if it says that your house is 3,500 square feet, they're actually going to go verify that it's 3,500 square feet. The third thing that the appraiser is going to look at is the condition of the interior of the house. So when we're talking about the interior of the house, what are they looking at specifically? These things would include the windows, the doors, the flooring, the walls, the plumbing, the electrical, the kitchen, and the bathroom. So that's a lot of different components they're going to be looking at and investigating when they go through your home. Now what they're looking for again is to make sure that everything is in operable condition and that everything has been well maintained. Ideally, they help you get the best appraisal possible. The fourth thing that an appraiser is going to look at are the improvements you've made to your house. Now this is where a lot of people say, hey, how are people flipping a house and making more money? They're taking a specific interest in the key components of homes that add resale value. The same thing that an appraiser is going to look at when they're determining the valuation of your home. That being said, what are those components? Some of the big ones would include your flooring type that you put in the house, whether you've done a kitchen remodel, a bathroom remodel, and even if you changed out the HVAC system. These kind of improvements will have a material intrinsic value on your house. After all, who doesn't love a really good home improvement or renovation done extremely well? That being said, one thing I want you to keep in mind if you are planning any home renovations or home improvement projects is to please don't over improve for your area. That can have the opposite of the desired effect. Make sure that whatever improvements that you're doing are in keeping with the area where your home resides. Doing so will help you get the money back from those renovations ideally and help you get the best appraisal possible, and undoubtedly be taken into account by the appraiser. The fifth thing that the appraiser is going to look at are the amenities of your house. Now, when you're thinking about the amenities, let's say that you're in a colder climate and you have a pool, or maybe it's even an enclosed pool, right? That kind of a thing that's going to make it stand out and pop in relation to the rest of the comparables that they may be using for the pricing of your home is going to give your house more than likely an added value. Another thing are things like a barbecue pit or outside grills that are built into a barbecue stub in the house. There's a lot of different amenities that homes have. Some homes even have elevators in the interior. area. All of these things will be taken into account and adjusted for the price of your home when the appraiser comes out to assess your property. So now that we know 5 of the things that the appraiser is really going to be taking a close look at, how do they calculate the value of your house? In most residential real estate transactions, they'll be using a method that's called the comparable sales approach method. In most cases with residential real estate, they'll be using a method known as the comparable sales price approach. In short, an appraiser will use market information and data that is most comparable and like in kind to your home. If you're thinking about what exactly would make it like in kind, consider if you have a ranch style home, you wouldn't necessarily want to compare that to a 2-story home. If your home is 3,000 square feet and another house in the block sold and it's 2,000 square feet, that probably would not be a good benchmark either. Normally they are going to look within a certain variance, maybe 5 to 10% of square feet, and make the adjustments accordingly to like in kind properties in the most concentric area around your house to determine comparable value for your home. The other thing to remember is that normally we'll look back in time about 3 months, but no more than 6 months. The best benchmark is a 3-month factor to show what the market's doing and how it's trending to help them determine the value of your home based upon the market trends in your area. When determining comparable sales that they wish to use, they're going to be taking a specific look at the location, the age, the condition of the home, and any like and kind amenities that the other home may have. So if there's another house on your block that had a 4-bedroom house, and let's say that yours has 3 bedrooms, but everything else about the house would be comparable, what they would do is they'd actually make an adjustment to show that you have a 3-bedroom home, they have a 4-bedroom home. So if that was the case, then they would adjust your price down by taking out the price of a room in your area. And if the opposite was true and you had an additional bedroom above a different comparable, then they would add that value. So appraisers take a lot into consideration when determining residential real estate value. So what happens if an appraisal comes in low? Likely you know someone that has been in this situation before, like, oh my God, I got a low appraisal. One of the best ways to ensure that you don't get a low appraisal to begin with is pricing your home right and correctly from the start. Now that being said, it is important to know that appraisers are still people and sometimes they make an honest mistake. It could be something as simple as a transposing error about the square foot of the home. So your listing agent should also be verifying that appraisal when it comes in. If it's a low appraisal, to make sure that all the details and all the comparables used are accurate. One of the best things that you could do here as a pro tip is to have your listing agent have a comparative market analysis ready to go with the comps that they use to assist you in determining the value that you should go on the market, along with a list of improvements from you with any of the upgrades that you've made. In specific, when breaking out the list of improvements, please put in the date, how much it cost. In your list of improvements, you'll want to include when the project was completed, what the project was, and how much the project cost. If there are no errors in the statistical data of the analysis that they're providing, then what you'll want to do is have your listing agent look and ensure that the comparables are truly comparable and as equal and as like and kind as possible. Again, we wouldn't necessarily want to see 2-story homes being compared to a single-story home. They're going to have a different material value and the price per square foot is generally a lot different. And with that research completed, your listing agent can go back to their appraiser and even in a lot of cases work with a buyer agent to ensure that the best comparables are being put forth to the appraiser and ask them for what's called a reconsideration of value and ask them for a reconsideration of the value of the house. And if the appraiser is still unflinching at the end of the day, then it's going to involve a renegotiation between you and the buyer. In specific, you'll either need to drop your price to the appraised value since the buyer cannot get more home loan than the appraised value, or the buyer will need to come out of pocket the difference if they have the financial capability to do so, or perhaps you just simply split hairs and you come down half and the buyer comes out of pocket half. Keep in mind though, at the end of the day, a buyer cannot get more home loan than the appraised value for the property. So please be negotiable on that and please keep an open mind whenever we get to this part of the closing process. So how can we just avoid getting a low appraisal altogether? Obviously, the first thing that we can do is make sure that the price is right when we go on the market. The second thing that we can do is make sure that we have a list of improvements ready to go with any of the extra things that you've done to the property prior to putting it on the market. Again, in specific with the list of improvements, please put the date, the type of project, and how much it costs for that project to be completed. The third thing is simply cleaning your house. I mean, you might be wondering, Andrew, what does cleaning my house have anything to do with the appraisal? It turns out quite a bit. An appraiser is going to need to be able to walk in and maneuver through the home. If the house isn't smelling right, if it's not fresh, and if it's dirty, then they're going to be making mental notes of everything going on in the home. How would you think about somebody's house if you saw that it was in disarray? Would you think they had good home maintenance or bad home maintenance? If the thought process, and it would be only natural to conclude that their home maintenance probably hasn't been done like it should, even if that may not necessarily be the case, the perception would exist. And with that perception, appraiser is going to start looking a little bit deeper, looking a little bit harder, and be more scrutinizing on the value of your home. So how do we avoid that? Clean the house, make it fresh, make it easy to access, and let the appraiser run free and do their job. The fourth thing is your landscaping. Consider your curb appeal is not only important whenever you're living in a property and also to attract prospective home buyers to your house, it's also important to understand that a good landscape can actually add value to your house. A well-maintained landscape sets the right tone for the appraiser as they approach the house. It's something that they're going to be like, hey, you know what? Everything already looks good. And the value of this house is $500,000? Well, let's take a look at the inside and let's verify this, but it's looking good so far. The fifth thing is to repair what you can. In specific, those repairs that a buyer may have asked you for when they submitted their repair request to you. You might be wondering, what do these repairs have anything to do with the appraisal? Well, I'm glad you asked. The reason that we want to take a closer look at this is that it goes back to home maintenance. The more that everything is maintained and in good functioning order, the easier it is for the appraiser to check the systems, put the check in the box saying, hey, HVAC works, heating works, cooling works, everything is working, there's no leaky toilets, there's no leaky faucets, everything looks great in this house. It's been awesomely and meticulously maintained. And the sixth thing is to simply be helpful. Answer the questions that the appraiser may have. Now, here's where a great listing agent will step in, and they would have already asked the appraiser, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Appraiser, would you like me to be present for the home appraisal? Now, some appraisers do enjoy that, and some appraisers don't like that. That's why I always suggest that a listing agent be prepared to attend the home appraisal, but also be realistic whether the appraiser wants us there or not. At a minimum, they should definitely have the comparative market analysis made available to the appraiser inside of the home with the comps that you guys used to go on the market for the price that you did. The other thing they want to have available are those lists of improvements that we mentioned a moment ago. Having both of those things ready to go, having a conversation with the appraiser up front when they call the schedule with you is going to be critically important to simply ask them, would you like me to be there? If not, then what can I do to help you determine the value of this home? Perhaps I could email these things to you. Would that be good for you? Be workable, be cooperative, and be helpful. It'll go a long ways with a good appraiser. Okay, so now let's go ahead and dispel a couple of real estate myths revolving appraisers that are out there. The first myth that comes up a lot, and sometimes I don't even know where this comes from, frankly. It's just absurd. But it's that the assessed value is the appraised value of the home. This assessed value has nothing to do with the appraised value of the home. It's simply a metric that your local municipality uses to assess your property tax rate. That's all an assessed value is. It's not the material value, it's not the market value or the appraised value of the house. So please keep that in mind and just know that anybody that says the assessed value is the value of your home, it doesn't work that way. And the second biggest myth out there, and I can barely do this with a straight face, but I'm sorry, I can barely do this with a straight face, seriously. But anyways, it's that a real estate appraiser goes off of the Zillow's estimate or another type of online algorithm to determine the valuation of the home. That could not be further from the truth. The real estate appraiser is going to go out there, they're going to assign the value based upon everything that we have already chatted about. They're not even concerned with his estimate. In fact, his estimate, if you really want to get technical about it, Zillow actually self-publishes a check and balance on their own systems that shows the standard deviation by percent for every location that Zillow provides services to by how much his estimate could be off. A real estate appraiser, on the other hand, is going to be taking in stock the current market value of their home in their professional opinion. All right, my friend, I hope this has been extremely informative for you. So now let's take a look and understanding the differences between valuations versus comparables, and also about the differences between market value, assessed value, and appraised value. Looking forward to our next conversation. We'll see you in a few.